Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my Friday night Stamp and Sip Live. I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Seekonk, Massachusetts. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. We are going to work on, we're going to talk about the color wheel, and we're going to work on a card um, using the color wheel theory, basically. Um, but before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Sorry I didn't make it last week. I had a personal emergency with my last Chihuahua. I lost last weekend. So we were really sad, and I just did not feel like coming on and doing my live. so, um, cheers to everybody, and cheers to my baby Chihuahuas that were the best dogs ever. Okay. That's a good thing about Chihuahuas. You always feel like they're babies because 'cause they're so little, like their whole life. Okay, so we are going to get started if, again, I can remember how to get out of here. There we go. And we're gonna put this one on solo. There we go. Okay, so this is the card, that I showed you, my sample card, on Hey, Maria, thanks for joining tonight. So this is the sample card that I showed. And honestly, I cut this too big. You can see that my mat here is kind of going off my card base. So I got my measurements a little wonky, but I thought that the card came out pretty. So I did it in a couple different sizes. I'm going to show you the differences tonight. But this was the basic card that I did with, oh, let me look. I wrote down the colors here. This one was Pool Party and Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock with a little pop of Calypso Coral. So this card I would consider a monochromatic card with a splash of a complementary color. So we're going to talk about what that actually means. Um, Let me put this aside. First and foremost, let me tell you about the stamp set. So this is the stamp set that we're using. This is where most of those images came from. This is called Beauty of the Deep, and this is in the new annual catalog. This was actually carried over from the last annual catalog, I believe. And I kept looking at it, and I think since I started, I've purchased every stamp set that was like a sea theme because I work at the Bristol Nature Center and Aquarium. So making cards for them, I do like to do a lot of sea themed things. But I hadn't gotten this one, but then since it carried over, I was like, all right, that's my sign. I need to get that. So I paired that one with the Sea Turtle stamp set, which is also in the annual catalog. And that's where these sea star images came from, the water images, and the fish images. And this is what we call a reversible stamp set. So I'm going to show you how that works as well. Okay. And then the little sentiment on my card, since neither one of these sets have a sentiment, you're going to need a sentiment set. And this is one of the best ones in the catalog, I think. Covers a lot of things. I think you can use this for any cards that you're making this year. And I think this is only $17, this Simply Said. But it's got celebrate, think of you, happy birthday, thanks, birthday wishes, yay, thank you, miss you, hello, just a note. Pretty much covers everything except specific holidays. Um, so I think that's a good all-round stamp set for sentiments. Okay, so let's talk first about color theory. All right, so in the catalog, you have got on page 132, you've got a color wheel. Hey, Courtney, how you doing tonight? Okay. Oh, hi, Lorraine. Thank you guys for joining. Okay, so on page 132, we've got a color wheel. Now, on stage, got something sticky on my color wheel. At Onstage, we were given this color wheel, and everybody loved this color wheel because it's got this thing that twirls around here in the middle. But honestly, if you've got the catalog, this color wheel is just as good. You just have to understand what these things are telling you in the middle. And that is all on page 133. It talks to you about monochromatic, complementary, analogous, and triadic. And these are basically color theories. Okay, so on your color wheel, well, I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to use the one that's in the book. On your color wheel, when you were talking about a monochromatic color scheme, you want to find colors that are next to each other, basically, on the color wheel. So you're looking at the examples that they give you are petal pink and calypso coral, or you could go the other way, petal pink flirty flamingo, or even you can expand it and use all three of those colors. It still would be considered a monochromatic color scheme. So then the second example they give you is lemon lime twist and granny apple green. Again, two colors that are next to each other on your color wheel. And then you could go the other way, soft seafoam, lemon lime twist and soft seafoam, which I think would be an amazing color combination. I need to try that one. And then the last one they give us is Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape. And so that's these two violet shades over here on this side. So again, it's two colors or three colors that are together side by side on the color wheel. So then let's talk about complementary colors. So complementary colors are colors that are directly across from each other on the color wheel. And these are two colors that are always going to complement each other and look good together. So you want to look here at your middle sections. This is red, which is then broken down into 4 different colors in the red block. And then you've got red, orange, orange, yellow, yellow, green, green, blue, blue, violet, violet, and red, violet. And then back to red. So what you're going to do is look at these in the middle here and look at what's directly across from each other. So you've got red and green. Then we've got blue, violet, and yellow, orange, or violet and yellow. These are colors that are going to complement each other when you use them together on a card. Always going to look good together. Okay? So then we move on to analogous. What does analogous means? That is 3 colors that are side by side on the color wheel. So these color neighbors are going to work together and they're going to, believe it or not, look balanced. So when they say 3 colors that are side by side, they don't mean 3 of these little colors that are side by side. That would be monochromatic. What they mean are these big colors here. So red, red, orange, and orange, or red, red, violet, and violet. So those 3 colors together on the wheel, those are neighbor colors. So you could pick any one of these reds, any one of these red violets, and any one of these violets, and they are going to work together and look good together. Now you just have to trust that that's going to work out, and you got to try it. So pick a color theme and make a card. So the last color scheme is, or color theory is the triadic. So this is where people got upset because this little thing does have this triadic here. So if you line this up, it will show you the colors on the in the triad. But there are 12 colors. This is 12 here. So essentially, it's 3 colors, and they're going to be three slots apart. So if you've got red, you're going to count 3. 1, 2, 3. You've got yellow, and then you count 1, 2, 3, and you've got blue. So red, yellow, and blue are going to be your triad. So let's do it again. Let's do orange. So if we do orange, you count 3. 1, 2, 3. That's yellow, green. And 1, 2, 3 is going to be blue, violet. So you'll have a blue, violet, an orange, and a yellow, green. So again, you take any one of these oranges with any one of these greens and with any one of these blue violets, combine them together for a card. These colors should work well and look good to your eye together. Okay, so that is what color theory is all about. And I think that when you're trying to think up like a color scheme for a card, I think you should look at the color wheel and try a combination you haven't tried before. That's a good way to try and to help you pick a color if you're thinking, oh, it just needs a little something. This is a good way to pick a color. Okay, so let's look at, on this one, we did, as I said, this was a monochromatic color, a monochromatic card. That's how I started out. But I have a hard time working in monochromatic. I like that little pop of color. So this one is basically monochromatic with, what did I say it was? Pool Party? Pool Party. Pool Party, some Lost Lagoon, and some Pretty Peacock, which are all in that same color family. And then I went across the wheel and I picked Calypso Coral for that little pop of color there for my coral. So you might be asking about this crumb cake color, and you might notice that in your color wheel, they do not talk about neutrals because that's exactly what they are. They're neutral and they go with everything. So you can add any neutral color into the color scheme that you pick, and it will work. So this card, I used Crumb Cake, which is neutral, for my sea stars there. Okay, so let's look at another one that I did. This is another one that is monochromatic, and then I picked a splash of color. So this is Balmy Blue, Azure Afternoon, and then I picked a spark of color in the Cajun Craze, which is across the color wheel from those colors for my little pop of color there. And then again, my Crumb Cake Sea Stars. Okay. Okay, and then let's look at a different color scheme. This one is analogous. So I didn't think this was going to work together, and I really love this. So this is Summer Splash for the water, and then Blueberry Bushel for the sea fan and the fish, and then a little splash of Old Olive. I would have probably, if I wasn't trying to specifically do the analogous color theory, I would probably have picked something brighter for here, but I love this Old Olive. It looks really pretty, I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, and then Triad. So let's look at this triadic card. This one is Summer Splash. Summer Splash for the water. And then I used Cherry Cobbler for the sea fan and the fish. And then I used Wild Wheat with a little bit more Cherry Cobbler for the corals up here. So this is triad. So these are those colors that are, what did I say? They create a triangle on the color wheel. Okay, so those are the color schemes. Hopefully everybody understands that. If you have questions, ask me. I'm happy to answer questions if I can. And if I can't, I'll figure it out and look it up for you. All right, so tonight we're going to work with, again, we're going to pull in our color wheel. I'm going to show you, I wanted to start with some colors that I haven't, or use some colors I haven't used before. So I'm doing the same card, but I want to pick something blue or blue-green for the water. We know we want to start there. So I'm going to pick right in the middle here in this blue-green, I'm going to pick my Coastal Cabana. So that's going to be my first color. So then what I decided to do is let's go with the triad. So let's count 1, 2, 3. So I need to pick a, oops, 1, 2, 3. I need to pick a red violet. So I picked Fresh Freesia from that one. Where am I? Red violet. And then 1, 2, 3. So now I need a yellow orange. So I decided to go with Wild Wheat. So here are my 3 colors that I'm going to be using tonight for my card. Okay, so let's set this aside. What I'm going to do is, of course, do the water first, and I'm going to start in Coastal Cabana for that. Okay, so this is a reversible stamp. One side has got the texture, and then you flip this over, and the other side is got the background color. So get my thing here. So I think this is the textured side. So we want to do this. Let me flip this over. I'm going to want to do this fairly light. So we're going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp onto my card. Okay, so that's my bubbles. And we're going to clean that. And then we're going to flip it over. And I'm going to use the same color, but I'm going to stamp off twice now. So I get a nice light color. And you're going to notice that this stamp, because you're flipping it over, it's not going to fit in the design exactly, but that's how it's designed. It's going to be a little bit more abstract. Okay. All right, so there's my water. And then we were going to do the big fan and the fish. So I first die cut these so we could see the colors. So here is the fan in the Wild Wheat with the Coastal Cabana. What do you think about that? I think that's pretty. Hi, Pam. And then here is the Fresh Freesia. Look at that color combination. That's pretty too. So these are the decisions now we have to make. Which way are we going to go? So I was honestly then thinking that my fish are going to be the same color. So what color do I want my fish to be? Are they going to be purple? Or are they going to be this wheat color? Who's voting for purple and who's voting for Wild Wheat? We'll see. See who? Fresh Freesia. So yeah, Courtney says we should make purple fish. I think that you might be right. So let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? Right? It's only paper. Okay, so we're going to make our fish Fresh Freesia. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, and then should I use this fan cut out? I think I'm going to try and stay with the original theme and just go ahead and stamp the fan here. And if it doesn't come out like we want it to, we can put the other one on top of it. So we're going to stamp this right here. I want to make sure I get a really good dark image there. Oh yeah, that's pretty. All right, so far so good. I'm loving it. So then what we're going to do is bring in some of our other little pieces. So I cut out some coral. These are the dies that go with the, oh, I've got everything tangled up, that go with the Beauty of the Deep set. And I think this is the other reason I loved this set was there's a die in here. No, it's right here. That cuts out this, I don't know what kind of coral this is, but it's my favorite. Whatever, I should learn the name of it. Okay, so that's this one. So we can use this big piece underneath our sentiment, or I cut out some little pieces, and that was like on the original card, these little pieces here. So I'll let you guys think about that. Should we use the little pieces like we did here, or should we use this big one? You guys think about that while I stamp my sentiment. So we're going to do the happy birthday sentiment in the Coastal Cabana. That lined up here. There we go. You like the smaller ones, Courtney? Okay, we're going to stick with the original design and go with the smaller ones. So I think we will use the little wild wheat ones here. And then we can throw a pop of either the blue, maybe bring in the blue up there because we've got enough freesia, I think. All right, so I'm going to just, of course I've been using adhesive sheet all week. And do you think that I remembered to use the adhesive sheet for these? No. One of these days I'm going to get it together. All right, so we're going to get some glue on here. Stampin' Up! Makes all these great tools and products so that your life could be easy, and we just refuse to use them. All right, so I'll put those there. I would love to pop these up, but they're so skinny. There's no way that I could get a little dimensional on there. All right, we'll get that little blue one in there. And then we'll put our sentiment, but we need our little bow. What did I do with it? Okay, here we go. We've got our jute or our linen thread here. So I'm just going to make a bow. And then we're going to get some dimensionals for our sentiment. And we're going to get this onto one of our little things there, onto our dimensional, so it'll stick. And then we're going to get that onto our card. There we go. Okay, so now we just have to pick a background. I picked a white card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. This little piece is 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And then I made our mat 4 7/8 by 3 5/8. So we've got some color choices here. We can go with the Coastal Cabana, which is very pretty. Or we could go with the, what was this, Fresh Freesia, which is also pretty, kind of brings out that fresh freesia. And we've got the wild wheat. Pretty sure I'm not going to like this one. I don't remember which way I went. This way. Wow. It's so funny how when you put the different background on there, it pulls out that color so vividly from the card. So what do you think? I would like either the Coastal Cabana or the Fresh Freesia. What are you guys into? Courtney, you got it. Oh, fresh freesia. All right, Lorraine's voice. Well, listen to Lorraine. Okay, so we're going with fresh freesia. So we're going to put this on first. And we want this at a weird angle. We want it to fit into all the parameters of the card here. And then the key is, and this is always my challenge, getting this one straight. I don't usually work at angles. I'm a very meat and potatoes kind of person, and everything's usually straight. All right, let's see. So, oops, upside down. So this one now has to go straight on here, and we want a little bit of all the edges hanging out. All right, that looks pretty good. There we go. All right. And then we just need some blings. All right, what did I bring for bling here? I've got some 2024 to 2026 in color shimmer gems, because this Petunia Pop, I think, looks kind of fresh freesia. It's so shimmery and it's so frosty. It looks kind of fresh freesia. So I'm going to use that one, or you could definitely use this Summer Splash, or the Shy Shamrock looks really pretty. But since we decided on the fresh freesia background, I'm going to use those. These are super pretty. Right there. There we go. Okay. So what do you think, guys? I think you guys need to get your color wheels out and give yourself a challenge. Give yourself a color challenge and see what you come up with. All right. So that is it for me. Oh, this is crazy. Okay. That's it for me tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining and tuning in. Just wanted to remind anybody who's watching and who is not a demo that tonight is the last chance for signing up with this wonderful sign up deal. You, of course, get your $125 worth of products for just $99. And then on top of that, they're throwing in all the new in colors. You get stamp pads, paper, designer series paper with it, and Stampin' Up! Markers. So it's $82 worth of merchandise on top of your regular starter kit. So it's a perfect time to join. If you guys have any questions about that, I am here to answer them. I would love to have you on my team. Okay, so that's it for me tonight. I hope you guys all have a really, really wonderful weekend, and stay crafty, my friends.